If your steering wheel shakes when you brake, somebody has probably already told you your rotors are warped. They are almost certainly wrong. The disc under your car is cast iron. It is almost never actually bending. What is actually happening is two things, both of them measurable, both of them fixable, and one of them costs you nothing. By the end of this, you will be able to tell which one you have in your own driveway with one tool. Start with where you feel it, because that alone narrows it down. If the steering wheel shakes, it is the front. The steering is physically connected to those discs, so that one is reliable. If you feel it through the seat or the floor instead, look at the rear. The pedal on its own tells you less than people think. Front discs do most of the braking and most of the pulsing, so a pulsing pedal can come from either end. Do not spend money on that alone. One thing it does rule out: wheel balance shakes at a steady speed, whether or not you are braking. This only ever happens under the brakes. That is the difference. Before we go any further, there is one case where none of this applies, and it is worth ruling out first because it is cheap to check. Your caliper slides on two guide pins. That sliding is what lets both pads clamp the disc evenly. Those pins live behind a little rubber boot. Once that boot splits, water and grit get in, the pin corrodes, and it stops sliding. Now the piston cannot float. The inner pad does all the work and wears down far faster than the outer one. And if one pin still moves while the other is stuck, the caliper clamps at an angle. You do not need tools to suspect this one. The car pulls to one side when you brake. One wheel runs noticeably hotter than the other after a drive. Sometimes there is a burning smell from just that corner. That is a dragging caliper, and it will cook a disc into a shutter all by itself. Fix the pins first, or you will be doing the whole job twice. Here is the part almost nobody is told. Your brake pads are not simply scraping metal. Look at what is actually stacked up here. Cast iron underneath, then the transfer film, then the pad. There are two things happening at once. One is abrasive, the pad rubbing the cast iron directly, breaking the bonds in both surfaces. That one dominates when the brakes are cold. Cold, the pad is scraping. Warm, it is depositing. Most real driving is a mix of the two. And both surfaces give up material. The pad loses thickness, the disc loses a little iron. The other is adherent. As the pads warm up, material from the pad transfers across and sticks to the disc and builds a thin, even film over the whole swept face. Once that film is there, that is what your pad is gripping. Pad against a layer of itself. The film is the only part of that stack that changes minute to minute. It is laid down, scraped off, and laid down again, continuously, while you drive. And it is thin. Measured under an electron microscope, friction films like this come out at a few hundred nanometers. A human hair is about 70,000 nanometers, so the layer doing your braking is hundreds of times thinner than one hair. It is also being destroyed and rebuilt constantly, every time you brake. That is normal. That is the system working. The film only works while it stays even. There are three normal ways to ruin it. Which is why a pad and a disc that have run in together grip better than parts straight out of the box. 1. Brand new pads that were never bedded in. The first few stops lay material down in patches instead of a layer. 2. One very hard stop from high speed on cold pads. That dumps material unevenly in one place. 3. And this is the one almost everyone does. You brake hard, then come to a stop and sit there with your foot on the pedal. The disc under that stationary pad is glowing hot. The pad is clamped on one spot. It prints a thicker patch of material exactly where it was sitting. Let that patch get hot enough, above about 1200 degrees Fahrenheit, and the cast iron underneath it starts turning into cementite, which is harder, more abrasive, and a worse heat sink than the metal around it. Now the problem reinforces itself. Watch what that does to the swept band. Even film all the way round. Then one patch that is thicker than everything either side of it. And once the iron under that patch changes, you are no longer dealing with a deposit. You are dealing with a hard spot in the metal. Here is what makes this maddening. You do not need much. 4/10,000ths of an inch of thickness variation is enough to feel through the pedal. 1,000th is genuinely unpleasant. Here is that number drawn to scale. 4/10,000ths is about 10 microns. That is roughly 30 times thicker than the working film itself, which is how you know this is not the film doing its job. It is buildup. 4/10,000ths of an inch, 10 microns. Your foot can detect a difference in the disc, thinner than a sheet of paper is thick. Beside it, a sheet of paper, about 100 microns thick. And the working film is too thin to draw at this scale at all. Now the second cause, and this one genuinely is geometry. That is the entire problem in one picture. Lateral runout. The disc is not bent, but it is not sitting perfectly square to the hub, so as it turns, it wobbles. Most manufacturers allow about 2/1000ths of an inch of runout, not much. Watch the dial as the disc turns. The face is not flat to the hub. It leans away, then comes back, once every single revolution. And here is what runout does over time. 2/1000ths of an inch is the usual limit. This one is running 3. Say you have 3/1000ths of runout on ordinary tires. That high spot passes the brake pads roughly 836 times for every mile you drive. Over 6,000 miles, that is more than 5 million passes. Now count what that costs you. Every single one of those shaves a tiny amount of material off the same spot. Nobody bent anything. The disc simply wore itself uneven, one pass at a time. 836 pad passes for every mile. So what caulks the disc in the first place? Usually rust or grit on the hub face. A speck of corrosion between the hub and the disc is enough to tilt it. 5 million passes, all of them landing on the same high spot. And the other one, wheel nuts run down with an impact gun in a circle instead of a star at whatever torque the gun felt like. That clamps the disc down crooked. So which one do you have? You can find out. And this is why the tightening pattern matters. Run the nuts down in a circle and you pull one side of the disc flat before the other side has taken up at all. A star pattern, in stages to a set torque, brings the whole face down evenly. Runout needs a dial indicator. Magnetic base on the steering knuckle, tip on the disc face about 1/2 inch in from the outer edge, square to the surface. One thing people get wrong, the disc has to be bolted down the way it runs. Lug nuts on, torqued to spec. Measure it loose and the number is fiction. Then zero the dial, turn the disc one full revolution by hand and watch the needle. Zero it, then turn the disc slowly and watch the needle move through one full revolution. The difference between the highest and lowest reading is your runout. Over 2/1000ths and it needs correcting. Thickness variation needs a micrometer instead. Measure the disc thickness at 8 points around it, evenly spaced. 12 o'clock, then every 45 degrees. If those 8 readings vary by more than about 1/1000th of an inch, that is your shutter. And if they vary by more than 6/1000ths, that disc is finished. Replace it. Let me walk one through, because the numbers are the whole point. You set the indicator to 0 at 12 o'clock. Turn the disc slowly by hand. At 90 degrees, it reads plus 1.5 thousandths. Keep going. At 180, it drops back to 0. At 270, it reads minus 1.5. Highest reading to lowest reading is 0.003. Spec was 2. That disc is running out, and now you know why it wore itself uneven. 8 readings every 45 degrees, written down as you take them. Highest minus lowest. That one number is your thickness variation. Do the same thing with the micrometer and the 8 thickness readings. If those are all within 0.5 of each other, but the dial indicator was out, your problem is geometry, not deposits. If the thicknesses are all over the place, it is deposits. That one distinction tells you whether you are cleaning the disc or reseating it. So the whole diagnosis comes down to 2 branches. Runout out of spec is geometry. Thickness varying is deposits. Neither one out, and the shutter is not coming from the disc. Look at the caliper slides, the bearing, the tires. One more number worth checking while you are there. the minimum thickness, stamped on the disc itself. Below that, it does not get machined, it gets replaced. Fixes, cheapest first. If it is deposits and the disc is otherwise good, you can often rebed the brakes and clean the film off. The procedure is 10 increasing stops, from 60 down to 5 miles an hour, firm, around 0.7 to 0.9 g, normal acceleration in between so they cool. 10 stops, each one firmer than the one before it. 60 down to 5 miles an hour, and never all the way to 0. Normal acceleration between them, so the pads shed heat instead of soaking it. 2 things matter more than anything else here. Do not come to a complete stop, and when you are done, keep rolling until they cool. Do not park with your foot on the brake. Empty road, legal speeds. This is a bedding procedure, not a track exercise. If it is run out, pull the disc, wire brush the hub face until it is bright, and refit. That alone fixes a surprising number of cars. Still out? A shop can machine it on an on-car lathe, which cuts the disc true in its own operating plane on that exact hub, rather than true to some other machine. Or use runout correction shims. And when it goes back together, torque the wheel nuts with a torque wrench to spec in a star pattern, not a gun, not a circle. And when it is back together, the torque wrench is doing the same job the star pattern is, holding that disc square to the hub. So before you buy anything, the disc is almost never bent. It is either wearing a layer of pad material unevenly, or it is being held slightly crooked and grinding itself uneven 5 million passes at a time. 2 causes, 2 measurements, and one of them costs you nothing but an afternoon. Both are measurable with tools you can hold in one hand, and one of them is free to fix. If you go and check yours, tell me what your dial indicator says. I read them all.